Shalom, shalom, welcome and greetings. My name is Symmanayah, and this is Rise of the 144,000 in Multitude. It is a message that is addressed to Yashar'al, nation of believers, those who would be part of the 144,000 and the multitude mentioned in Revelation that will come out of the great distress, the great tribulation. These messages are directed to you, my brothers and sisters, consisting of all nations, kindreds, and tongues, who seek to worship and obey the Almighty Father Yahuwah, and accept Yahushua as Mashiach. It is you whom I'm calling my brothers and my sisters. This series, Rise of the 144,000 in Multitude, although the title is similar to the previous series, please note that I have removed the words voice of strangers in the title of this series. In this series, my brothers and sisters, there is an introduction, and I want to bring to your attention that these words are critical in these coming days. The title of this segment is Fresh Air. And I will repeatedly ask the question, when proof comes, what will you do? Today is November 20th, 2013. There are things, my brothers and sisters, that will result in forced transitions. There are things that will result in chaos, violence, civil unrest, and more, mentioned in end-time prophecies in the scriptures. And I ask you, do you honestly believe you can have extreme famine without people fighting for food? Can you have extreme drought without people fighting over water? What about pestilence? Can you see a rise in pestilence without violence taking place for people looking for sprays, repellents, or a place of safety to get away from such? The same with disease. Could there be a rise in disease such that vaccines or remedies or natural or man-made remedies where people are fighting? Yes, my brothers and sisters, be mindful. The things that are mentioned in end-time prophecies, in their wake, upon their arrival, and as they increase, we will see chaos, violence, turmoil, and much more. It is for that reason, my brothers and sisters, that we must be mindful of the Spirit of Yahushua guiding, preparing, fashioning, perfecting those who I believe have been sealed to represent the 144,000 and those who would be prepared and are being prepared to go through the great tribulation period. Pray earnestly, my brothers. Anything that is righteous will be confirmed. I invite you to examine previous recordings regarding my position on the 144,000 in multitude who will come out of the great tribulation period. I will not go into details on these matters going forward. Please review previous recordings. For the sake of time, I will present what I am compelled to believe as critical points to revisit, and then we will address the matter of fresh air and its role in things that result in forced transition, chaos, violence, civil unrest, and more. I will present these matters as they have relevance to end-time prophecies, my brothers and sisters. Let me share with you this. I have mentioned and believe with all my mind, my body, and soul that the earth has been harmed, the sea and the trees have been harmed, and we have reached peak levels or tipping points beyond recovery for this planet as man know it. Keep in mind this as I share these two verses. Revelation 7:3 saying, do not harm the earth, nor the sea, nor the trees until we have sealed the servants of our Elohim upon their foreheads. As I said, the earth, the sea, and the trees have been harmed. I have mentioned in times past that the seal on their forehead is the seed has been planted, and it will bud and rise up like a majestic tree, and we will witness those who have been sealed. We will witness the 144,000. Revelation 7:4 said, and I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000, sealed out of the tribes of Yashar'al. My brothers and sisters, the day will soon emerge when all doubt, all questions as to the whereabouts and representation of the 12 tribes of Yashar'al will come to be, and with much proof. I submitted also in times past 7 key words that I am compelled to believe are reflective of the 7 spirits of Elohim, referencing Revelation 4:5 and Revelation 5:6, which go hand in hand with the message embedded in the 7 feast days. I will share those briefly. For Passover, it is identity. For unleavened bread, it is sight. For first fruit, it is knowledge. For harvest, it is discover. For trumpets, it is communicate. For atonement, it is restore. For tabernacle, it is complete. My brothers and sisters, we are in the last days. End times have begun. There are some very critical things we need to survive from a natural and practical perspective. Pressing towards maturity is paramount. It's critical for navigating through these trying times ahead. These times, these end time prophecies, as they unfold, pressing towards maturity is paramount. And I believe these words that I submit are a reflection of the 7 spirits of Elohim and will be critical in pursuing maturity in our walk with Him. Those words being identity, sight, knowledge, discover, communicate, restore, and complete. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. Yes, there will be those who will grasp at the verse Deuteronomy 8:3, which reads, "And he humbled you and let you suffer hunger and fed you with manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, to make you know that man," and here's the key, "man does not live by bread alone, but every word that comes out of the mouth of Yahuwah." There will be others who will grab this verse and say, "I'm not worried about the famine that's coming. I'm not paying attention to the food shortages because I know man doesn't live by bread alone. I'm not concerned with the calamities or the challenges and the changes because man does not live by bread alone." We will look and we will witness brothers grabbing various verses to have a degree of comfort, grabbing verses void of listening to the voice of the Spirit of Yahushua, void of knowing that we are supposed to be prepared like the maidens or the virgins with the oil and the lamps, void of listening to the instruction that we should be mindful of the signs of the times. Though we do not know the day or the hour, we should know the season. You see, my brothers and sisters, it is not about searching and grabbing verses that will promote us to be lazy or slothful, that will provoke us to be inactive and not attentive to the Spirit of Yahushua. This will be unwise. Remember, we serve a living Elohim, an almighty Yahuwah, through His set-apart Spirit sent in Yahushua's name, and that He provides us daily with instructions and guidance. He influences our steps beyond many of our recognition. Just because we're not quoting Scripture and repeating Scriptures every minute, every hour, some of us fail to realize that in our communication there is peace, there is shalom. In our communication there are words that build life. In our communication there are things that promote the coming together righteously one towards another. My brothers and sisters, Scriptures provide many answers and instructions, especially as they are made alive. And one thing is for sure, there are actions in or tasks required of each of us in these end times. The 144,000 and the great multitude that will come out of the tribulation will be tasked with specific duties of which most of us are unaware. We read and we come to accept the Scriptures reference to these individuals, but most of us fail to ask about the details of their responsibilities in or how these individuals will be led in or managed. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, you may indeed be one of the 144,000. You may indeed be part of the multitude that will go through the great tribulation. Pray and watch as you are perfected, refined, and as you grow closer to know what it is that the Spirit of Yahushua has for you. We are so fragmented and divided that for some, they have taken the position that we will never witness the unified body of believers until the Mashiach's return. Yes, there are those who have succumbed, been overtaken by unbelief regarding the unity of Yashar'al, and do not believe it will happen before Yahushua's return. I suggest you take a moment and pray on Nahum 1:3 and ask yourself, are whirlwinds and storms what's needed to humble us to realize what we must do? Also ask yourself, what are the characteristics and definitions of whirlwinds and storms? I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, whirlwinds and storms are unplanned, unscheduled, and uncontrollable events which are also included in the characteristics of life's events. In other words, more than just tornadoes, hurricanes, and typhoons and snowstorms, etc. Look around. There are many whirlwinds and storms in our lives. We face many challenges day to day, and as a result, we are being humbled. Allow me to take a moment to read Nahum 1:3 that we may be familiar with it. Nahum 1:3 reads as follows: Yahuwah is patient and great in power, but by no means leaves unpunished. Yahuwah has his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. I ask you, do you think famine, drought, pestilence, disease can be considered a storm? Pray on these matters and seek to discern and understand, for they are and they do play key roles in executing the plan of the Most High Father, Yahuwah. We will witness Nahum 1:3 like never before, and the Almighty Yahuwah will continue to have his way, my brothers and sisters. I am compelled to believe that famine, drought, pestilence, and disease will result in chaos. I have mentioned this over and over in times past. Increased crime, violence, civil unrest, economic depression, turmoil, and much, much more will come. As pertaining to the rise of the 144,000 in multitude, I believe wholeheartedly within my spirit that we will see these coming conditions as humbling events. In other words, they will perfect us and refine us. They will sharpen our abilities to discern and understand what must be done. Remember, this plan belongs to the Most High Father Yahuwah, and it will and is being executed as he has designated. He will not be asking our permission to proceed with any task. I am compelled to believe we will witness things emerge forcing, yes, I did say that, forcing us to move from business as usual. Things that will shake us from our day-to-day routines are coming in the foreseeable future. One of the things will be our quality of air will change. The air, the atmospheric conditions, extreme weather patterns, and climate change will produce contributions that will lead to forced transitions and forced migrations and relocation. With this said, I invite you to consider the results of one of the most critical things needed to live: fresh air. We need fresh air, my brothers and sisters. Fresh air can also be considered as part of our atmosphere. Many of us have not asked ourselves, will the atmosphere, for example, climate change, affects the quality of our air? Did you know that currently there are global concerns regarding Earth atmospheric conditions? Yes, my brothers and sisters. It has even been reported that we could possibly be moving into an extinction level event regarding man's survival as it relates to fresh air. There are reports which state man has moved past its tipping points or peak thresholds for restoring or remedying the current trends towards our extinction. It is said that CO2 or carbon dioxide levels are highest ever known to man and will result in atmospheric change, global warming, extreme storms, glacial melt, sea levels rising, increased acidity levels in the seas, which result in killing many species of the oceans and disrupting the food chain as it relates to seafood, and much more. My brothers and sisters, we know there is and will be intervention on these matters, for end-time prophecies inform us of what to expect. So yes, we know there will be intervention. I am presenting this information for you to be aware. Fresh air and changes in atmospheric conditions will contribute to famine, mentioned in end-time prophecies, drought, mentioned in end-time prophecies, pestilence, mentioned in end-time prophecies, and disease, as it is written in the scriptures. The emerging extreme conditions will disrupt the lives of many, and for some, we have witnessed this happen already as a result of typhoons, hurricanes, tornadoes, and extreme weather conditions. The extreme conditions will disrupt lives, my brothers and sisters. Remember Nahum 1:3, that the Almighty Father has His way in the whirlwind and storm. Pollution is another factor in destroying or creating poor air quality, causing a degradation or contamination of our fresh air. While many may complain about manufacturing jobs moving over to China, I submit to you, China has many cities which air quality is less than desirable. Greed has resulted in reckless and negligent manufacturing processes, resulting in the destruction of much of their fresh air. In other words, while manufacturing have moved overseas to China, they are polluting their atmosphere. They are reducing the lifespan of many of their citizens in cities where the pollution is extreme due to greed and negligence and disregard. More closer to home, if you live in the United States, consider the air quality in the Great Lakes region or any region where steel mills and manufacturing is occurring. Compare the number of deaths from respiratory problems in manufacturing areas compared to those in outlying areas or agricultural environments, and you will see that the death toll is much higher. Also, for those of you who are familiar with Los Angeles is an area, due to its low-lying geographic position, constantly experience pockets of what they call smog. Fossil fuel burning and carbon dioxide being trapped in the lower atmosphere look like fog, but it is smog. It is pollution, my brothers and sisters. And this occurs not only in Los Angeles, but in other parts of low-lying areas along the coast, posing severe respiratory challenges. Although people may live and laugh and play and disregard this, lifespans are shortened. I invite you also to Google or use your search engine, my brothers and sisters. Become aware, enlightened regarding the degradation of the quality of air, the lack thereof in many places, and depending on your search, you may come across the articles that show China. In some cases, there were times when they closed businesses, schools, and even told people to stay inside due to the air quality, which was bad. This makes the area less attractive for anyone to establish residence. Another threat to our livelihood, so to speak, is man's greed. We witness the pursuit of nuclear power. We have become desensitized to what happened years ago in Russia, when the Chernobyl event, which made wastelands of huge geographic areas. Many areas became uninhabitable and remain uninhabitable to this day, and that was over 27 years ago. That happened in April of 1986. But most recently, my brothers and sisters, most recently, on March 11, 2011, the Fukushima nuclear plant, they had several reactors. There was a disaster as a result of an earthquake in Japan and tsunami, massive tsunami. And as a result of that, my brothers and sisters, radioactive particles were released into the atmosphere. Yes, you cannot smell, you cannot see, and you cannot touch radiation. But radioactive particles were released in the atmosphere. It resulted in radiation being detected in some rainfalls, even as close as the West Coast and as far away as Japan. My brothers and sisters, radioactive particles produce cancer and shorten the lifespan of man. Another threat, my brothers and sisters, is that our current president and many others advocate the use of nuclear power with total disregard for our quality of life and man's survival. Be mindful of these things, my brothers and sisters. As the result of the disaster at Fukushima, radioactive particles are continually released into the atmosphere. It is also released into the seas, into the Pacific Ocean, but I will discuss that in the next segment. So, my brothers and sisters, Be mindful, for these will contribute to the degradation of areas where you can farm, where food was once produced. The world's population is outpacing food production. And when radioactive waste and catastrophes such as Fukushima contribute to the destruction of the food mass, this relates to end-time prophecy because it contributes towards famine, my brothers and sisters. See the connection. Pray earnestly to see the connection. Back to the subject of fresh air. Who has given thought to the importance of the quality of our air? We have taken things for granted, my brothers and sisters, but I submit to you in the coming years, the world will begin to pay attention to the quality of our air, atmospheric conditions, global warming, climate change, and sea level rises. Scientists and other agencies have also begun admitting to manipulating weather patterns out of perceived survival needs for specific locations without any regard to what it would do to other locations. Case in point, I read where it is admitted, this is not conspiracy theory, my brothers and sisters. I read where they are seeding the clouds. This is the term they use. Seeding the clouds. And what they're doing is spraying silver iodide into the clouds to try to force rain. Yes, my brothers, to increase precipitation. I read where this was being done in California as well as in China. Many of us have also witnessed videos or read articles about HAARP, High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program, which is used to try to manipulate the weather. Yes, some have dismissed this as a mere conspiracy theory, but recently information was released regarding what man is doing to try to combat quote-unquote drought. In an effort to force rain or increase precipitation in the state of California, China, or any area, man has not given thought to what are the adverse effects towards other areas. Many of these tornadoes and typhoons and hurricanes are merely blamed on global warming and climate change. Man definitely is avoiding the fact that they are trying, contributing, and working to manipulate weather patterns by spraying chemtrails. Yes, many of us thought this was all conspiracy theories, but now it is common to release information that chemtrails are used to try to combat drought conditions. Believe it or not, my brothers and sisters, man's tampering with weather will contribute towards famine, drought, pestilence, and disease. It now appears that man, in greed or out of short-sightedness, is contributing to our own demise. They have also added silver iodide and solid carbon dioxide or dry ice into the clouds to try to increase precipitation. Yes, I read about this, my brothers and sisters. I've seen the press releases. While the tornado activity and storms are just blamed on climate change, I submit to you, brothers and sisters, some of these catastrophes may be a result of man's tampering with the weather. You ask, and you may ask, what does this have to do with the rise of 144,000 in multitude? My brothers and sisters, if we are not mindful of the conditions around us, if we are not mindful of the emergence of chaos and civil unrest, it would make it most difficult and challenging to come together as 144,000. Yes, the Almighty Father, Yahuwah, is almighty and most powerful. But keep in mind, my brothers and sisters, He provides us with instructions and guidance and warnings. Yes, we have seen throughout scriptures where warnings were given, where instructions and guidance was given. We have seen those succumb to unbelief and fall to rebellion or become unresponsive. I pray that's not the case with us, my brothers and sisters. Remember, I mentioned in times past how the Most High does not have to ask our permission to fulfill His word. So there will be orders. There will be directions. Let us not fall into the fruit of rebellion. Let us not fall into the hand of discipline, judgment, or wrath. My brothers and sisters, there will be forced transitions. Massive amounts of people will move due to the quality of air and the results of extreme weather events. Some cases, people have been forced to move already. We are witnessing these things emerge, and I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, it will indeed get worse before it gets better. Even among believers, we will witness forced transition and relocation. Even among those who are a part of the 144,000 in multitude, it will be part of a refining and perfecting process for them. For those of us who will be part of the 144,000 in or multitude that will come out of the great tribulation, yes, it will be part of the refining and perfecting process. I know, my brothers and sisters, there are those who will inform us that the Most High Father has not appointed us to wrath, and they will read 1 Thessalonians 5:9 or other scriptures. 1 Thessalonians 5:9 reads, because Elohim did not appoint us to wrath, but to obtain deliverance through our Master Yahushua Messiah. Some will grab that verse, void of listening to the voice of the Spirit of Yahushua, and hold on to that for comfort or for belief of safety. But be mindful, my brothers and sisters, we serve a living Messiah. Be also mindful of Ephesians 5:6, which reads, let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these the wrath of Elohim comes upon the sons of disobedience. Colossians 3:6 also read, because of these the wrath of Elohim is coming upon the sons of disobedience. So, my brothers and sisters, I submit to you, if we are not paying attention to the Spirit of Yahushua, if we are not walking in obedience to the Spirit of Yahushua, we may find ourselves in the path of the Almighty Father's wrath. While many take 1 Thessalonians 5:9 to mean there will be some type of rapture, whether pre-tribulation, during the tribulation, or after the tribulation, I submit to you who would be part of the 144,000 in, or possibly to you who will be part of the great multitude that will come out of the great tribulation. I submit that the 144,000 and part of the multitude will be taken to a safe place. We will not be appointed to wrath. We will be taken to a safe place before the Mashiach's return. Consider Isaiah 11:12. And it reads as follows, and he shall raise a banner for the nation and gather the outcasts of Yashar'al and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. Isaiah 43:5-7 reads, do not fear, for I am with you. I shall bring your seed from the east, gather you from the west. I shall say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not keep them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth. All those who are called by my name, whom I have created, formed, even made for my esteem. So it says for my esteem. This is his choosing how he wants to bring his plan into fruition. Many people ignore the part where it says even made for my esteem and just grab that all of us going to be gone. This is so far from the truth. Let us gird up and prepare for our purpose, our calling, our duties, what we would be tasked to do in these end times. Jeremiah 23:3 reads, therefore I shall gather the remnant of my flock out of all the lands where I have driven them, and shall bring them back to their fold, and they shall bear and increase. My brothers and sisters, while there are those who will promote these prophecies as being fulfilled, be watchful, for we will witness such a time as described happening in the foreseeable future. Yes, there will be the rise of 144,000 in multitude as written in Scripture. Pay attention, my brothers and sisters. There will be conditions that will contribute to the shaping and structuring of this 144,000 in multitude. It will also be events occurring resulting in the emergence of a one-world government, a beast system, the anti-Mashiach or anti-Messiah and false prophet. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, become mindful of the quality of air, for air, fresh air, and atmospheric conditions will be the tools used in an attempt to manipulate man's perceptions and the control of man. As abnormal changes begin to accelerate, we will see chaos, we will see turmoil, civil unrest, violence, crime increase, and much more will erupt. But for those who would follow and listen to the voice of the Spirit of Yahushua, it will be humbling events and challenges. Some among us will become martyrs. Are you considering just waiting until all of this become very obvious, very plain? Are you waiting for chaos to break out? If so, have you given thought to the roadways, the highways? What would they look like when conditions become too obvious? How many have given thought to what the airports, the railways, the public transportation and waterways, how many have given thought to the congestion that would be? People scrambling trying to get to a safe place from one place to another. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, the Spirit of Yahushua will indeed refine, perfect, and bring about the rise of 144,000 in multitude. We will receive guidance and instruction on what we must do before chaos breaks out to intense levels. My brothers and sisters, I strongly encourage each of us to begin paying close attention to air, fresh air, global warming, climate change, and the effects it will have on where people choose to live, as it relates to contributing towards the fulfillment of end-time prophecy. Yes, my brothers and sisters, pray earnestly. Seek out to discern and be mindful of the migration patterns as people begin to move. Consider the track you will take once the time comes for you to move. Yes, you will come to a point where you will move, whether it be a short distance or to a far. To you who are of the 144,000 multitude, you will indeed be moved and shaken. Remember, the Most High will not ask our permission to use us to fulfill His words in producing the 144,000 and multitude. Remember, Revelations 3:19, I believe, which states that He disciplined those which He loves. And it asks us to be passionate or be ardent and repent. My brothers and sisters, no chastening for the present, no discipline for the present seems pleasant, but after it will yield the peaceable fruit from the Almighty Father. Let us be mindful of what is written in Scripture, as we are shaped and perfected in His image. Pray and watch. Pray and watch, for soon and very soon we will see things begin to take shape. Do not get caught up in chasing conspiracy theories, my brothers and sisters, or what is known as false flags, but examine your surroundings, examine the global trends, measure them against end-time prophecies, and establish a ready mind to hear what the Spirit of Yahushua is saying regarding your discoveries. For the Spirit of Yahushua will confirm anything that is linked to the fulfillment of His living orders and commands, anything that is linked to the fulfillment of end-time prophecies. It is through questions in an established mind, body, and soul to worship and obey the Most High Father, through His set-apart Spirit Yahushua, that we can come to discover how to be ahead of the chaos to come. The academics may use the word be proactive. I submit to each of you, be obedient to the living instructions, guidance, and reproof and judgment from the Spirit of Yahushua. And in doing so, you would see, by taking obedience as a priority, it can be defined as being proactive righteously. There will be many of us who will begin to discover our true purpose and yield to the commands and direction of the guidance of the Spirit of Yahushua. Some will be used to gather small groups, and small groups will merge into larger groups, and larger groups into even larger groups, until we see and witness the rise of 144,000. Some will be humbled so that we will not kick against those who have been chosen to lead us and we will follow as the Spirit of Yahushua guides and as he proves. My brothers and sisters, this is all too real, and it is unfolding before our eyes. Let us remember we serve a living Elohim. We will, as mentioned in times past, witness those chosen by Yahushua to lead the 144,000, as well as the multitude during these last days, these end times. The end times will produce many challenges. I submit to you to be mindful of the things related to man's survival, for these will be the tools used to attack man. Fresh air, water quality, pestilence, disease will play a vital role during these end times. You may know it more as famine, drought, pestilence, and disease. I have presented the need to pay attention to fresh air, global warming, climate change, and extreme weather patterns in this segment, and why I believe it is relevant to the rise of the 144,000 in multitude. I pray, my brothers and sisters, we can come to grips of what is unfolding before our eyes. Pray and watch. The next segment will highlight specifics as it relates to fresh water. Be encouraged, my brothers and sisters. Remember, this plan belongs to the Most High Father Yahuwah. Details are made known by his set-apart spirit sent in Yahushua's name. Remember, he speaks to us one towards another. Yes, my brothers and sisters, be encouraged. Each of us have a task to perform, and in due season, we will awaken gradually from our slumber or be free from the strongholds that fight against our obedience to the Spirit of Yahushua. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, I salute you. I salute your patience and endurance in hearing these words, these messages that I believe I have been compelled to present. I pray that each of us are able to endure to the very end. Until next time, stay tuned for the next segment on fresh water and how it applies to the rise of 144,000 in multitude. I pray that we do not get caught up in the crowds, in the congestion, in the chaos, trying to scramble to the place we believe we ought to be. Let us be mindful of the guidance of the Spirit of Yahushua and move in a timely fashion as he convicts, as he instructs, as he leads. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. Anyone that is led by the Spirit of Yahushua that has been called to lead Yashar'al will be proven. Until next time, my brothers, my sisters, my family, shalom, shalom, shalom.